new trend of studio apartment across Noida and Greater Noida is a matter of intense debate, not only among the prospective home buyers, but also some of the seasoned professionals within the Indian property market are questioning it. Noida is not New York, it's not Manhattan. It is the most affordable property market across the top 10 property markets of this country. In a market where anything less than 1000 square feet does not sell, anything less than 2 BHK does not sell, will a studio apartment of 500, 600 square feet actually sell? Well, keeping in mind that a number of developers have launched the project, let's try to get into uh, the rationale why the developers are launching it, whether this will be accepted. So the first thing is about acceptability. Uh, in the Indian context, Mumbai is the only city where a studio apartment is a raging success, and the reason is quite obvious: land scarcity. The second thing is about affordability. In Mumbai, most of the home buyers can't afford anything more than a studio apartment. Noida, being the most affordable property market, is this the same reality in Noida, Greater Noida? First thing is about acceptability and the way these new launched studio apartments are selling. It is very convenient to say that investors are back in the market. Fine, investors are back in the market, we all know. They are driving the studio apartment. But then the investor, any given investor, will also look at a ROI. He also has to offload his inventory at some given point of time. Why then studio apartment is being made and being sold at this pace? Because most of the studio apartments have takers. It's not that developers are creating inventory and there are no takers of it. I have personally visited many of the studio apartments across the city, and I have seen that the sales velocity is no less than any other given housing project. So in terms of acceptability, most of the investors and builders are uh, conscious of the fact that now may not be at the level of Mumbai, but to a large extent, businesses are shifting to Noida, Greater Noida. Even some of the large corporates, multinationals, have started shifting from Gurgaon to Noida, Greater Noida. So this is where for their top-notch professionals, for those professionals who have already bought a house in some other city and they are coming over here for an year or two, they need quality space. Most of the studio apartments are fully loaded. Uh, so any professional who want to rent, take a studio apartment on rent, he does not have to spend anything on furnishing or on any appliances. Everything is fully loaded. Secondly, it's about the walk to work culture. Most of the professionals, and Gurgaon has succeeded because of this region, that most of the professionals who come on a short duration of an year or two, they look for a place which is very closer to the concept of walk to work. What better way to get it in the same building where you have your offices? So most of the studio apartments are like ground two, three, four floors are shopping complexes, then office space, then studio apartment, and it goes to on the top of that there are clubs, 4 to 5 star hotels, and multiplexes. So you are getting a fully loaded studio apartment. As far as rentals are concerned, for any investor, if he is getting a rental return of 2 or 2.5% in any other 2 BHK or 3 BHK, here in studio apartment, it's easily fetching somewhere around 5 to 6% returns. Why everybody is surprised with the studio apartment? It's precisely the price point. In a market where you can get a 2 BHK for 50 lakh rupees, the studio apartments entry point is roughly around 50 lakh rupees, and it goes up to 1 crore plus. One of the projects at sector 72 Noida is 90 lakh as the BSP, and if you add all the PLCs and acquisition cost, other acquisition cost like stamp duty and all, it it is around 1 crore plus. So this price point is something which is uh, a matter of concern to everybody. But then if you look at the Noida, Greater Noida property market closely, the entry point in terms of per square feet that used to be in the range of rupees 3000 to 3500 square feet, it has gone to 5500 rupees per square feet. In a market where salaries are flattened and there are very few industries where you have job growth, affordability is a matter of concern. So the average middle class that was looking forward to live somewhere closer to the workplace with 1,000 square feet apartment, he can no longer afford, or coming in the coming days, he would not be able to afford 1,000 square feet at the cost of 50 lakh. This is where the studio apartment comes into the picture. So affordability has hit the roof in this part of the world. In the coming days, most of the professionals who have budget constraint and they want a large format, they will go to places like NH24 or Yamuna Expressway, beyond that Yamuna Expressway. So this region is fast catching up and shedding the tag of most affordable housing market. Another factor that drives the studio apartment across the world, which is not a reality with Noida, Greater Noida, is that people look for small compact houses across the world. They look for small compact houses because in the post retirement days, they can't afford a bigger house and they want to live in the city center. Well, the way Delhi NCR is growing, this may not be a reality today, but 10 years down the line, and because most of these investors have a long horizon, so in the days of the in the days to come, the way property market is appreciating, it may be artificial appreciation, it may not be end user driven appreciation, but still affordability has been a matter of concern. So most of the investors are looking for, say, 10 years down the line, when affordability of a 2 BHK or 3 BHK will be beyond the means of an average salaried middle class professional. So they will then start offloading. Till then, a studio apartment is something that is giving them a decent ROI in terms of rental yield. Well, is this a good news or a bad news? Good news is for those who have already invested in this part of the world. But the bad news is that most of the prospective home buyers, very soon they won't be able to afford a decent 2 BHK or 3 BHK across Noida and Greater Noida. So the choice will be very clear. Either have a small, compact, fully loaded studio apartment in the city center, because Noida, Greater Noida is emerging as a city center now. So better to have a compact studio apartment in the city center, or go on the outskirts of NH24 and Yamuna Expressway. In my opinion, the developers who have got into the studio apartment, they have seen the days to come. They are more, and hence most of these studio apartments are futuristic in their vision. So reality is that studio apartment is here to stay. May not be a success story in the short term, but in the long term, when affordability will be a critical factor, then only thing that you would be able to afford in Noida, Greater Noida with your limited budget would be a studio apartment only.